but a conversation. So if you have questions, you want to ask a question, just you can either wave your hand or use the chat function at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So whenever the spirit moves you. My name is Jeannie Affelder, and I am proud to be one of the founding board members of Friends of the Children Chicago. I found this organization through, like I find most things, it was through my husband, who went to an event in Oak Park where Taal came and introduced the idea of bringing a chapter of this national organization to the Chicago area. And my husband, Jeff, came home and said, Jeannie, I think I found it. And the it was some desire for many years to connect my life in Oak Park to what was going on in the Austin community right over Austin Boulevard. I also love an organization that makes a difference in a child's life, and that's what Friends of the Children does. This format today is sort of a perfect way to bring it down to the individual level. You're going to get to meet Phalon, who's one of our rock star mentors, and hear about what she does every day, making a difference in the lives of children, right about a mile from where I'm sitting right now. We're going to start this conversation with a couple of polls. So Leslie Levy, who is our amazing office manager, is going to put a few polls up just so we can find out who's here and how you're feeling and what you know. So here's poll number 1. How familiar are you with Friends of the Children? So just click whatever feels right and hit submit, and then we'll know something about that. We need like Jeopardy music or something.
I'll serenade you all.
Okay. So no raw beginners. Very helpful. Thank you. And the next poll, Leslie? Very interesting. Thank you. Great. Very controversial topic.
Oh, interesting. Look at that.
Wow.
I argued with Jeannie. I thought it was milk and cookies. So good to know that you are cookies and milk.
I also want to acknowledge, thank you so much for your responses to the polls. I also want to acknowledge that 2 of our other board members are on this call, Jackie Hairston and Stacy Williams, so they may chime in, be able to answer questions or ask questions as we go on. And now I get to turn our conversation over to Taal Hasak-Lowy, our Executive Director, and to Phalon Carpenter. And take it away.
Thank you, Jeannie. So first of all, Jeannie, thank you. Jeannie helped us get the mugs and the delicious cookies, which I encourage you all to enjoy. And Jeannie baked all the delicious baked goods that were very dangerous as I was delivering one and eating one the last 2 days. So Jeannie's gonna owe me a new pair of jeans soon. So thanks, Jeannie. I was really happy when Jeannie thought of this format. Jeannie's the chair of our development and marketing department. And whenever we talk, I've just dealt with some other aspect of our work, and I end up telling her some story that one of the friends just shared with me. And she said, I wish we can bring these stories to everyone, because that's what brings our program to life. And so here we are. Every morning I take a walk with my new puppy that we got in the beginning of March. And I pass this beautiful home on the way that has a Black Lives Matter sign in front of it, an American flag, and it's like, I'm gonna call it Victorian, but I don't really know what that means exactly. We have a big porch, and out on the front, on their front big porch, they have a table, and they have probably 2 kids in kindergarten and 1st grade. sitting at the table, and then every morning sort of a tutor comes up with her box to sit down and work with the kids. And it's like this is more at the beginning of the school year in September, when it was beautiful weather. They were sitting outside and I could watch them learning together, socially distanced, the tutor with masks sort of working with the kids. And like, oh, what a great way to sort of approach learning. And then I always think about the kids that we work with at Friends of the Children and sort of how different their experience with remote learning is. And so what I want to do is introduce you all to the wonderful, wonderful Phalon Carpenter, a truly rock star of a human being. I hope you all get to just chat with Phalon at some point. She warms and enriches all of our hearts that sort of get to interact with her. Phalon, I want to start by asking you just to introduce yourself and sort of describe where you used to work and why you like working at Friends, because I think that'll be helpful for people to hear.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Phalon Carpenter, as Taal said. Previously to working here, I worked at in juvenile detention, Cook County Juvenile Detention. I worked there for 9 years. I saw this opportunity available, and I felt like it's where I needed to be. I worked at the county for a long time. I made a lot of good money, but at that point, I was like, this job like spoke to me. Like, my passion is working with kids. And then when I saw this position, I'm like, yep, I'm gonna apply for this. Let's see if I can get it. So I applied for it, and it had to be the best decision that I've ever made. Just the idea of being with a kid from kindergarten until they graduate high school, that's a major impact that you can have on a child's life. And I know how I felt when I had a mentor and having that support, and I got that support going into my teen years. So it didn't start early for me, but I did still get that support. And being able to start that young, you really realize the impact that you can have, and having that one-on-one interaction with a kid and being able to help them grow and then to watch them grow. I thought that was just awesome. So I applied for the position and I got it. And we've been rocking and rolling ever since. And I'm really appreciative of the organization. Taal is awesome. Our team is awesome. Our supervisors are awesome. Everyone has the same goal and the same mission. We want our kids to have every opportunity they can to be successful. And we're all on the same page, and we're working to make that happen and to be a part of an organization that does that and also makes it about us and not just the kids. Like, they are very supportive of us, and they give us everything that we need to do our job, and they support us in other ways. So this is like a dream job. Like, people want jobs that they like going to. I actually like going to work. So, and I don't look at it as a job. Like, this is fun for me. Like, I love it. So I don't even think of it as a job.
Thank you. Hold on one second. I have someone who can't get in. I'm just sending. Okay. So Phalon and I spoke the other day to prep for this call, and just to figure out which stories we wanted to highlight and share with you. And she told me about some of her experiences sitting in on remote learning, and that was really, really interesting for me to learn. So Phalon, before we get to specific kids, you told me about a class you sat in for Mary, where we have 6 kids from our program in that classroom. And you told me that it's a really good teacher, but can you describe what's happening during that class, even though she's a great teacher in the classroom?
Remote learning is definitely something different. Sitting in on that class, and like Taal said, we have 6 kids in that class that's in our program. So when I log on, I always let the teacher see my face. We've had conversations on the phone, so she knows who I am, and the kids know who I am. So if they see me, they get excited and they want to wave, and I'm like, oh no, I got to cut my camera off. I don't want to disturb the class. But she's an awesome teacher. But I think with the platform and the kids not being able to like sit still and really focus, you see kids dancing, you see kids unmuting themselves, they're walking away from the computer, their parents walking past, people talking in the background, they're playing with pets and other siblings. And it's a lot going on where they're not really focused, and she's trying to get them to focus. And I really commend her because it's hard when you have kids in different households and everybody's not paying attention and you're trying to teach one thing and they want to type in the chat. So now she has to disable the chat so they can't chat. And it's a lot. And I don't think that a lot of the kids benefit from the online learning platform. Like, I know personally some of the kids that I have, it's not doing them any good. And it's a failure for them. I think they're already behind and this just makes it even worse for them. Some kids will be able to adapt to that learning style, but a lot of the kids, it's not working for them. And just seeing her and how she's trying to have these lessons and trying to get the kids to engage, it's really hard. So, I commend them for even trying, but I see that it's going to be an issue with a lot of our kids in our program.
So we'll get into a specific about that in 1 second, right? So we have a teacher who's really good in the classroom, but has more than 20 kids in Mary's teacher's class. How many?
Yeah, I think it's about 27.
Right, trying to teach 27 second graders with remote learning that don't have a tutor or a parent able to help them, right? Sort of, that's not working for them. Charisse has a disaster with remote learning for a different reason. Her grandma helps her log on, but can you talk about just the struggle just for the teacher and what's happening with that remote learning with the teacher?
With the teacher or with Charisse?
This one specific with the teacher, just about what's happening there.
This teacher is kind of different. I've sat in on Charisse's classes and I think she gets frustrated easily. So it comes out when she's talking to the kids, she's yelling, they're asking for help on how to do things on the computer. She's like, well, ask your parent, wake your parent up and tell them to do it. And I'm like, well, that's not the way I think you should interact with kids they're trying to participate and trying to engage. And you're like, well, I can't help you right now. Go find somebody to help you. And some of those kids might not have someone in the house that's able to help them. And I just think she's just frustrated with the amount of kids she have in her class and the amount of kids that's not paying attention and that's not doing their work and not really interacting. So I've seen both. I've seen the teacher who's really frustrated, and then I've seen the teacher who's managing the best way she can. So she still smiles and she still encourages the kids, even with everything that's going on.
So I apologize, it may not have been Charisse, but you have one class where there are substitutes every day, that they switch every few days who the teacher is?
Yeah, the teacher is, she's been out for medical reasons. So she has a sub. Sometimes the same sub they'll have for 2 or 3 days, but then they'll switch. So it's no real way to communicate because it's not the teacher that's there every day. So you really don't know what's going on because the teachers change so much.
So we'll talk a little bit more about your communication with teachers in a bit. I want to get into some of the specific. So as you all know, Phalon works with 8 girls. She's involved in all facets of the girls' life at home, in school, community, and however we redefine that now in the world of COVID. I'd want to start with Sierra to talk about, and we're giving you guys all, we've created code names for all of the girls. So if you see Phalon and I looking at a sheet of paper, we're trying to remember which girl it is. So there's a lot to tell about Sierra, but if you can just start by describing who she lives with, how you've tried to help them access remote learning, and then some of the specific challenges that Sierra has with learning. But starting with who she's living with and what you've done to try to help them.
Okay. I had to think about like Sierra, like that's, so I had to think about it. So this particular kid, she lives with her great aunt, which is her mom's aunt. Her mom is young. She's about 26, actively involved in her life. She has 3 children, and Sierra is the oldest. And they live with the great aunt. The great aunt had custody of the mom, and now the mom is just kind of like not completely out of the picture. She comes around, but the great aunt is responsible for them. The great aunt is 60, and she's having a hard time with remote learning. So I've been working with her to get them logged on, to show her how to access the different websites, because in some classes, they may have 4 different websites that they have to go to in order to do their work. They have a math website, a reading website. They have like 4 or 5 different websites. And if you're not computer literate, which she hasn't used a computer in forever, she's like, I don't know how to do this. She gets frustrated. So because of COVID, we do a lot of virtual things. I have been to their house a lot of times to physically log them in and show her I set up bookmarks for her to log in. We write down the passwords. So she has a book with all the passwords and the logins, but she has 3 kids that she have to log in. So it gets frustrating for her because she doesn't know how to really operate the computer. So I'll FaceTime her and we'll walk through it and she'll get on. And then maybe 3 days later, she's like, I can't get the kids on. I'm tired of this. I don't want to do this. And I just try to keep encouraging her, like just still walking through her every day. Like I told her, you can call me anytime and I'll sit down and we'll walk through it just to get the kids on and get their work done. I do go to the house at least once a week. I was. Right now I'm not because the COVID cases coming. She actually did have COVID. So I don't like really going inside the house that much because she did previously have it. But when I'm there, I'll sit in on the class with them. I'll help them with their work. I'll show her how to log in, things like that. But she is awesome with those kids. And those Sierra is really behind. She can't, she's getting a lot better. And that's a testament to her aunt because remote learning is not working for them. We're just going to be honest with them. It's not working for them because they're behind. Like they were at a point where they couldn't really identify all the letters in the alphabet. They didn't know sounds, basic things that you learn in kindergarten. They missed all of that. Then they get the first grade, they're still behind. Everyone in the classroom like, oh, well, if they're going to be quiet, as long as they're not disturbing anything, we're not going to worry about it, but nobody's teaching them. And I talked to the teacher, like, what can we do about this situation? It bothers me that she can't read. She's in 2nd grade and cannot read at all. And I'm like, well, what are we going to do? Well, we're working on this and it's a wait list and we got to do this. And I'm like, oh my God, this not going to work for me. So I printed out packets. I would go online and print out little packets like with basic math and sounds. And I would give them to Miss Katie and she would work with the kids and I would work with her as well, just to try to catch them up. I'm not a teacher, but that's what I started to do. And then I found a tutoring organization that gave her a tutor. But the downside with that is it's another laptop and it's another virtual learning. So it's like, oh, she like, no, I don't want another computer. I got to figure out another way. I'm not doing that. So it's unfortunate that COVID has pushed us to this part where everything is virtual, and for parents who don't know how to use computers, it's hard. But she does everything she can to try to keep them engaged and teaching them. Like she has things on the wall, letters, numbers, everything. Like she's working really hard to work with them, and I commend her for that. And I always tell her she's doing a great job, but that's not going to be enough because they're so far behind that they're going to need a lot of extra help. And this being what it is now is just pushing them further and further behind. But we work together and try to do as much as we can to at least try to help them at least learn something. And she has improved a lot. So
She has a desire to learn.
Yeah, that's a testament to her aunt really working hard to get her there.
So the Sierra is a great example of, we work really closely with grandma, we call her, the great aunt, Miss Katie. We try to help her with technology, but that's just super challenging for her. And one of the challenges with remote learning is they teach to the median student, right? The teachers have an unbelievably hard job, and Sierra's behind. And so remote learning is good for her just socially so she can see her friends. But Phalon's stepping in to try to give her work in reading and worksheets or whatnot, so we can just continue to get her sort of academically ahead. Really quickly, half an hour goes by very quickly, and so just a bunch more information I want to get to you all. But Miss Katie just lost her mother last night. She just had a stroke and a heart attack in the hospital. Is that correct? And so
Yeah.
she's raising 3 of her great nieces and nephews. She's at wit's end with remote learning and now has this added travesty of losing her mom. And so we're sending the family food right now. And we have her 3 great nieces and nephews are in our program with 3 different friends. And they're going to take the kids for a day next week, or for a good portion of a day next week. So we can give Miss Katie a chance to just catch her breath and just sort of take care of herself so she can be present to take care of the kids. I want, Phalon, if we can talk about Tamika for a moment. So she's also one of your 2nd graders. She missed more than 100 days of kindergarten And in first grade, even before COVID, she was on track to about to miss that much school as well. Mom doesn't like or trust any of the teachers at school. She doesn't like the reading specialist or the counselor. Tamika's really behind in school. There's questions about whether or not she needs special ed, and you really believe that she just hasn't had enough schooling and enough experience at home. One of the challenges when kids are really young, it's all about our relationship with the parent and the trusting relationship and accepting the parent of where they are, that the friends can do with the parent. So can you talk a little bit about the work you've done with Tamika's mom and with Tamika?
This probably is one of my hardest families to work with. When we started, the mom didn't trust me, and that's to be expected. You don't know me, and I'm asking to take your kid out. So she would go on the outings with us. Like, I had no problem. Like, I was surprised when parents didn't want to go on the outing with me, because if you're taking my kid, I need to go a couple times to see, how things work. But she was like, I need to go. So she pretty much spent the whole summer with me, and her kid. And that was fine, because that gave us a chance to build our relationship. And when it comes to the school aspect, I worked really hard with her mother to get her to see that the things that she was doing was harming her daughter. Like, she's dependent on her daughter, so she doesn't like her. She would come up with reasons why she can't go to school. It's no reason for her to miss 120 days of kindergarten. That's crazy. And then last year she missed 69 days, and that's before COVID even started. So, and then, we had the strike. So it really wasn't a lot of days to miss, but she missed mostly all of them. But, and her daughter didn't know how to write her name, and she's in second grade now. And when I work with her, we work on writing her name. We work on ABCs and numbers. Like, people think like that's small, like that's literally what we do, because she doesn't know it. Like, and I told her mom was like, well, I need a second grade book for her. So I'm like, she's not ready for second grade. She can't write her name. She can't do second grade work. And I told her, I'm honest with her, because that's the kind of relationship we have. And she doesn't take offense to anything that I say to her, because she knows it's coming from a good place. But I'm like, we got to work together to get her where she needs. You have to be realistic about where your child is. And it could be because she missed a lot of days of school. You can't miss all of kindergarten and part of first grade and then get to second grade and think you're just supposed to jump into learning your multiplication. It doesn't work that way. So working with her, we work on small things, numbers, letters, writing your name, and that's bigger compliments for her. So I always encourage her anytime we do it. I tell her she's doing a good job. Her mom works with her too, but it's just getting her mom to see that, like, she doesn't like the reading specialist because they had words in the past. And I'm like, well, it's not about you. We're trying to get her to where she needs to be. So, and I'm still working with her on that. We still going back and forth about this reading specialist, but I'm like, you're really hurting her by not letting her go see the reading specialist, because she's not where she needs to be. And I've been the kind of the liaison between her and the school, because she pretty much doesn't like anybody at the school. So we'll go to the school together, and I'll sit in on meetings with her. She's like, well, you got to go to the school with me, because I know I'm a snap if I go by myself. Okay, well, I'm gonna go with you, and I'm gonna keep you calm, and we're gonna get what we need to get done, so the kid can have the best chance to succeed. So it's been a battle with her. She's a sweet person. She just has, she just feels the way she feels, and just trying to get her to realize that your feelings is hurting your daughter. And hopefully we can get her to where we need her to be. But right now, she's doing better. She lets her see another specialist. But the reading specialist is big. She has to learn how to read. So I'm still working on her with that. And I still do the things that I do with her. And hopefully we can get there.
Phalon's work with this mom has been unbelievable. She's just, life has just taught her to be angry at the world and everyone and everything, and not trust anyone. Phalon taught me the term to talk 100 to someone, to be just really honest and have honest conversations. And this mom knows that Phalon's gonna not judge her by what she's doing, but is gonna speak really honestly to her. And so that trust we use then to try to connect mom with the school. We got mom to go to an IEP meeting to make sure that we can get, what's her name, Tamika, all of the help that we need. I wanna end before we open it up to questions. I sent everyone the video of Joy reciting the poem, Hey Black Child. And if you haven't watched it, I really encourage you to. Can you talk a little bit about Joy, about what she wants to be when she grows up and why you had her learn that poem?
Yeah, Joy is like, she is so awesome. Like, I love her so much. She wants to be a doctor. When I first got all of my kids, we did like an all about me sheet. When I first got them, what favorite colors, what they want to be when they grow up, favorite food, things like that. So this year I did another one. So every year I want to see if their answers change so we can see, what we need to work on. And everybody pretty much said they want to be the same thing. Like, she's very set on becoming a doctor. So we talk about, becoming a doctor. We looked up different books, and hopefully once this is over, I can introduce her to a doctor that she can talk to and learn more about, being a doctor, and see how she likes that. She's very smart. She loves to read. She loves to write. We're reading a book together right now. It's called One Summer, One Love Summer. I can't think of the top of my head, but we're reading it, and we discuss each chapter. We talk about it, the characters, and what's going on in the book. It's been pretty fun. I had her learn Hey Black Child because I love that poem, and I think that it speaks a lot to. I think it's encouraging for her, and she's very smart, and sometimes she gets bored. So I wanted to challenge her, and I'm like, if you learn this poem, I'll get you some McDonald's. And she was like, we're going to get McDonald's. I said, we're going to get McDonald's. You learn this poem. So she said, I'm going to work on it. So she called me and she's like, I know the poem. You got to come before I forget it. So I came over. I went to her house, and she was like, let me look at my notes. I'm like, okay, look at your notes. Like, okay, you can record now. So she learned that poem, and I gave it to her just to show her that she can be anything that she wants to be, and can't nobody stop her. Like, I just wanted to encourage her and let her know that this is you, the sky is the limit for you. And I always tell her that when we talk. We have to give her different quotes. Like, she's very mature to be in third grade, and her parents are so supportive, and we have a great relationship. And I let them know, like, look, she's dope. Like, pushing her, and not push her where she don't want to do it, but just encourage her and let her know, like, keep pushing. It's okay if you don't get it the first time, or if you mess up. You don't have to be perfect, but as long as she try her best, then she can do it. And I see that in her, and I just want to continue to get her to do that. And that poem really spoke to me, and I felt like she was the perfect kid to give it to, and she nailed it, and she was so excited. And it was awesome. Her parents were happy, I was happy. So
when Joy came into our program in kindergarten, they were homeless at the time, and her parents that were raising her were splitting up. She has a much more stable living environment right now, and Phalon has been an amazing support for the family as well. All that I want to do is talk to you. All of you know, Brenda, I don't know you well enough yet. The rest of you know me well enough that I just want to keep talking and talking, and I want to share the world with you. I want to be mindful that we told people half an hour, so if you have to go, feel free to excuse yourself. But I do want to open it up. If anyone has questions, I want to give you an opportunity to ask questions, or if not, I have a few more questions I can ask Phalon. But feel free to type it in the chat or just ask out loud. Okay, then I'm going to ask one more question, and I have several questions. But Phalon, can you talk? Well, there's two things that I know I want you to talk. I have three final questions, and if it goes too long, then I'll shorten it. Sorry, I just saw Orly put in a great question. How is CPS working with us? Oh, CPS, Chicago Public Schools. That is Chicago Public Schools, and I'll try to give a short answer, although, again, not my strength. Chicago Public Schools last year created a new policy that organizations seeing kids outside of the schools cannot work with kids inside the schools and cannot transport kids. And so they stopped us from working with kids in the school. This is the only school district in the entire country, in the 24 cities in the United States that we're in, that is not partnering with us and saying to us, please, please take more children. So we are working to just build, we have the best youth protection policies in place. The Bo Biden Foundation, which works for child safety, gave us their shield of protection of our gold standard for our child protection policies. So we're still working on that. There's many teachers that let our friends into the classroom because the teachers really want us to. But it's happening right now on a teacher by teacher basis. So actually, Phalon, let me, one of the 3 questions, can you first talk about how and why you're in touch with certain teachers and what that communication looks like? So that's my first question. Let's just try to keep the answers short so that we can let people go soon. But just about your communication with teachers.
Well, I started off emailing all my teachers, introducing myself, telling them who I am, what kid I'm working with, and told them about the organization. And then I talked with the parents and let the parents know, well, can you let the teacher know that, that I'm a part of the child's life, and this is what we're doing. So my parents were really good with informing the teachers. Some of the teachers I knew from last year because they had other kids and we see them in passing. So it wasn't hard to get in contact with them. And they email me and give me updates on the kids. I'm not allowed to sit in on the classes. They can't send me the link, but if I go to a kid's house, I can sit next to them and be in the classroom. They just can't officially give me the link to log in. So if I'm at my kid's house, I get to log into the classroom and see what's going on. But they're very good with emailing me and responding to me about what's going on with the kids because the parents did give them permission that they can talk to me.
Phalon, can you describe, so we call it, anytime a friend hangs out with a kid, we call it an outing. Can you describe how you plan an outing and what are some things that you do with kids on outings, like the different types of things you do with them and how you approach them?
Pre-COVID or now? Like
let's talk about now since this is
okay.
Our reality.
So now, because everything is pretty much virtual, I set up my outings based on the things my kids need to work on. I know they're in school a lot, but like I said, a lot of my kids, they're not really participating because they don't understand. So right now I'm really focusing on academics with my kids as opposed to just fun. Like we would have more fun, but now it's like, I make it fun with the academics, but that's like my big thing because I know they're not getting it in class. So I would have a plan like with Tamika, our plan is we work on writing her name, things like that, letters, things and of that nature. But she's one of those kids that can be very moody. So with any of my kids, I'll go in with the plan, like this is what we're going to work on, but I still go off how they feel. So I'll check in with them. How you doing today? What's going on? How you feeling? Let me know how you feeling, like that. And if they go on, if they go like off, I have a kid who, okay, we want to read. She hates reading, but her mom wants me to work on reading with her. So she was like, well, I want to show you my flips. Let me show you my flips. I'm like, okay, well, let's read this book first, and then you can show me your flips. So she'd be like, well, why we can't flip first? I'm like, I said, you got to work with me. You just got to read 3 pages. If you read 3 pages, then I watch it flip. So I kind of go off what kind of mood they're in because you don't want kids to not want to talk to you. You don't want to pressure them and make it feel like it's a chore to talk to me. Like, I don't want to be seen like that. So I'll come with the plan, but it really goes off the mood they're in and what they're trying to do. Even if they want to flip around, like I said, if she want to flip, okay, you can flip, but we're going to spell a word while you flip. We're going to work on sight words. So when you flip, you got to spell this word. So it'll be something like that. So I'm getting what I need to get done, and she still get to flip and do what she wants to do. So it pretty much just goes off how they're going to respond when I call them and touch bases with them. Some of my kids already know, like when I call them, like, what we working on today? They're like, yeah, let's do the sight words. Or they tell me what they want to work on. We'll do that. And then we'll play a game or we'll talk about something else. Like we'll play Roblox or Fortnite or something like that after we do our academics. So it pretty much just depends on the kid.
Right, so it's not, friends don't follow a curriculum. They have specific goals they're working and skills they're helping their kids develop, but it's very much attuned to each child's needs and where they are that particular day. So it's that wholehearted support. Phalon, my last question for you is, do you think it makes a difference for a kid to have a friend in their life right now, and why? Like, sort of, what difference do you see this as making? Just knowing your family.
Definitely right now, I think in general, it's awesome for a kid to have a friend because it's another person that cares about them and supports them. And kids know when you really care about them and when it's just when it's a front. Like they'll tell you, but when they know you care about them, they look forward to seeing you. And with everything that's going on, being in the house, not being able to get out, you don't know the situations that some of the kids are facing. Being in the house, just having that extra person is really big for them. Like they're excited when I call them, and some of my kids have their own phone, so they'll call me all day, and I have to let them know, like you can't call me all day. Like you can call me if it's an emergency, and we go over what's an emergency. And I usually let them call me probably up to 7, 8 o'clock, and then I'm like, look, we can't talk today. I'm gonna call you tomorrow. I had a kid call me at 5 a.m, and I'm like, where is your mom? Why are you on the phone? What are you doing? She's like, well, I just wanted to talk to you. I'm like, it's 5 a.m. What are you doing? It's just like you have to set those boundaries, and it's hard because they love you. They want to talk to you, even if they just call in a smile or show you a picture of their little brother, or they're doing a flip or what they're eating. They just want to be in contact with you, and that shows the impact that you're having, because even if you're not having long conversations, they're just calling to see what you're doing. Like, even I had got sick and I was in the hospital, and one of my kids made me a card. All my kids called me because I had told their parents, like, I'm in the hospital. I'll reach out when I get out. And they said, they were praying for me and all that. And the kids like, you were sick. Do you feel better? Okay. So it's like, it shows you that you're making an impact on their kids' life. So, you just got to kind of have boundaries, because they will call me all day long, texting, those TikToks. Let's make a TikTok. And I'm like, it's 9 o'clock. Why are you not in the bed? Like, what are you doing? So it's great, man. Like I said, I love working for the organization. I love my kids. I love my families. It's the best job. It's the best thing that I could ever do. Like, I always wanted to give back, and this is the perfect way to do it. And when I see my kids' faces and they're smiling, they're happy to see me, and their family's happy to see me, that's the best feeling in the world. You can't buy that anywhere. Like, it's great for me.
So just two things that thank you, Phalon. Thank you. Sleep structure and helping encouraging parents and caregivers to have bedtimes and put their kids down at a reasonable time is something that all of our friends try to work on with their kids, and is a very, very, very big challenge right now. And most of our kids live in housing situations that have 6 or more people in a 2-bedroom or smaller place. And so when our friends can give them sort of that one-on-one attention, that makes such a big difference for them right now. I just want to sort of open it one last time if anyone has any questions or comments, and then we'll set you all free. But I want to keep talking about this. I want you to keep talking to Phalon. So if you have questions or want to connect with me later, I'd love to talk with you. But just one last thing, if anyone has any thoughts or questions. Such a quiet bunch. I know you all are quiet. But that's all good.
That's different for me. I'm used
to it. I want to thank you all so much for spending some time with us today. And I wish you all a wonderful rest of the day. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks.